Excellent. Okay, it is Thursday, October 23rd. This is the Capital Program Committee. I'm going to do a call to order and a roll call. Christie,
Here.
Pete,
Here.
Howard,
Here.
and Jill is here. This meeting is being audio video recorded. Can I get an approval of the agenda?
So moved. Second.
And on your approval, Pete,
Aye.
Howard,
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Jill's and I. I'm gonna open this to public comment. I'm gonna close public comment. And now we're gonna be hearing from Drew again about department, DPW fleet, parks and solid waste. So Drew, if you wanna go ahead. I look at this on my screen just based on the agenda, if you wanna go that way, but it really doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah, hi guys, can you hear us?
Oh yeah, you got quite a crew.
Great, we are in our lovely conference room. So I'm here with Nick Torres, Central Fleet Manager, Charlie Palaki, Parks and Rec Manager, and Chris Lowe, Solid Waste Manager. Jill, on your spreadsheet, was it Central Fleet first?
Yes, and then it's parks.
Okay.
Right. You want me to pull up that spreadsheet, the table?
What, the order in which they came?
Yeah, that, yeah.
So the first one is the Ford E-Transit van is what I have.
Yep. That's the order.
Okay. Yeah, you want to just walk through each
Yeah.
one of those and
Sure.
share a little history and. what we're looking
So
for?
the replacement for the transit van, our current van is 9 years old. It's a gas model. We're starting to experience much more increased downtime. And the new one will be completely EV, which is more in holding with our green community standard that we're trying to move
Okay.
So that's E-Transit van for our facilities group. And I would say that's probably the backbone of the facilities fleet. So just add something to that.
Okay, does anybody have,
I have a question.
yeah, Christie, he's our
Uh,
transit guy.
One of them. Nick, with these EV vehicles, are we able to do services like we would like a regular combustion engine vehicle and like what's your?
we are limited, Christy, to what we're allowed to touch on those, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. But we also now have a service team with a master technician from Belize Ford out here 1 week a month. So we accumulate any issues we're having with the Lightnings or any of the e-vehicles we have, and they can address them all either on site or they will transport and take it to Belize if necessary. But
Okay.
there are definitely issues we can address on site. But
Like
that's, as it evolves, the mechanics of it are kind of catching up with it as it works.
Do you have anything in place like could you show me and say, look, this is our annual service, preventive maintenance service like schedule? For any of your vehicles, really. But
Yeah,
and-
it differs by vehicle clearly, but yeah, if you had a specific vehicle, I could show you exactly what that service plan should entail. It's based on, we base most of our service based on hours, not on miles, simply because a lot of our vehicles stay in place on a site. So hours is the best metric for knowing when service is due. And just about all of the service we do is hours based, unless it's something specific like battery maintenance, and that we'd have Belize.
all right,
How do you deal with that, with the batteries? Like, how often do they have to get?
well, it really honestly, I mean, I don't know about the EV vehicle batteries. I don't know if there's a time frame on those.
Yeah, a standard battery lifespan is between 7 and 9 years is what the
Yeah.
manufacturer goes with right now. And so the batteries themselves need zero maintenance. It's the servos, essentially it's the 4 independent motors running off those batteries, it's all-wheel drive. The servos are what need maintenance, and that is, it's brushes, it's essentially electrical motor maintenance that due to the voltage involved, we have a dealer deal.
Yeah.
So what about the not being able, these cars, I think you're not putting in a garage, right?
No, I was gonna jokingly say that 7 to 9 years for the battery might be longer than the life of our vehicles because they sit outside, so.
Yeah,
I
and
Yeah.
all electric work is warranty at this point due to the age of our vehicles. So all that warranty work has to be handled.
Does, if I may,
Wait, the warranty requires it to be inside?
No. The warranty requires any electrical work on those to be done by the dealer during the warranty period. In other words, if we tried to do that work, we would void the warranty.
Yeah, I get it. Go ahead, Chrissy.
Nick, does that vehicle purchase come with a charger or is that a separate charge?
There was an incentive that we used to get a charger with, but now the federal government has changed tact. We actually have an extra charger or two from the previous purchase of the Lightnings. So we're actually in fairly good shape as far as chargers go, but no, going forward, unless something changes on the federal level, chargers are a separate expense if we want to add more.
All right.
Anybody else?
Nope.
Oh, Caroline, you're on? Okay, great.
Yep.
All set, moving on.
Yes. Next, we're looking at the Ford 350 for the science department.
Yep, the current truck is a 17. Did not pass inspection due to some suspension issues. We've already replaced the transmission. We have a large fleet of larger vehicles, but we need the 350s for in-town snow and ice removal just because they're a little bit more nimble than a 550 or a Freightliner. And that particular truck 3, which is we're talking about right now, that is the street lines and signs vehicle that we use for all of our street lining, all the signing around the island. And so that the only modification of that for upfit is we would need a lift gate for it to just be able to move some of those things around. But it's part of our replacement schedule. And again, this one has already seen some fairly serious repairs done. And we just had an inspection event out here last week, and it didn't pass due to components of the suspension failing.
Okay. And this one's not electric.
Negative. No, it wouldn't. An electric vehicle wouldn't cover what they need to do with it as far as weight capacity. Because we will put a spreader and a plow on this truck as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. Next
Yeah.
up, I have the forestry bucket truck and equipment.
So our current forestry truck and chipper are both 18s. They were not. Our forestry truck is not built to handle the load of work we do with it. Due to the need at the time, it was bought off the lot. We need a bespoke built truck with a little bit more substantial payload capacity. It's having failures right now due to electrical issues. Currently, if we have an emergency call right now, I can't send the truck out due to a failed electrical issue. We don't have running lights at night. Now it's something we can fix, but it's one in a litany of issues that we're beginning to have with that truck, simply because we've used a truck that wasn't built for that type of use, and we've pushed it beyond its parameters, to be honest with you.
I would just add to that, anecdotally, I think I hear, the tree trucks in the shop more than any other vehicle. And I also see the bills that come in when we, utilize our on-call tree trimming contract. Or when we have a storm, it would get incredibly expensive very quick to outsource what that crew does. The truck's really super critical to our operations, but also there's nothing else like it in the entire town's fleet. So, we really can't call someone else and borrow theirs. So, pretty critical piece of equipment for sure.
So you can't use anybody locally for that? I mean, for an emergency, I'm not talking that that's a good long-term plan.
Yeah, no, we do. We have on-call tree trimming contracts with Pathfinder and Nantucket Yard Guard, but I don't think they've done a day of work for us for less than $17,000 or $20,000. So it gets expensive quick to outsource or contract out that work. I mean, we still do. Don't get me wrong. They have capabilities that we don't have, especially the in-town areas where it's really tight. You have some incredibly tall trees, but from a storm response perspective, we'd be calling everybody we know, and that bill would be hefty. Tree
Okay.
work is expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. All right,
Yeah.
so anybody have any questions?
Just one thing on the chipper primarily, is there specialty training or certification that you need to have to operate one of these? And if so, I mean, I'm assuming that we have people on staff that are adequately trained or enough people that, you know, if and when this needs to be used, we'll have the right people to do it available.
Yeah, honestly, anybody can run a chipper, but
Yeah.
because it's part and parcel of the tree truck itself, they have to have a CDL with a hydraulics license to even move it. So the crew that goes with the tree truck is always the tree truck crew who understands all the little intricacies of using that chipper with the tree truck. And again, our capacity is fairly limited, so it's not a really oversized chipper that is over the top for someone to operate. But the short answer to your question is no. There's no special certification to run the chipper.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Nope.
That's the only other thing, more of a, so knowing, you know, I mean, this might be used regularly, but I was thinking with the snow plows also, you know, not a ton of snow in the last couple of years, just got me thinking about the useful life of, let's say, this tree trimmer and shipper. I mean, obviously, there's a correlation between how often it's used and what that useful life is. I mean, in your opinion, do you guys see if, let's say, maybe on the snow plow, if a snow plow is used very regularly, you know, for 2 or 3 years, do you expect to have a little bit more useful life on the back end of its expected lifespan? I know it's probably a dumb question, but I just wanted to.
Actually, the answer to snowplow can really, there's an argument to be made either way. The worst thing for our snow equipment is to sit unused for years at a time.
Right, yeah.
High rot and electrical issues become. And the flip side of that argument is the more volume we do with those things. Plowing is not a delicate science, right? We're smashing down the road and hitting things. So
Right.
the more volume they see, the more damage we have, and the shorten the lifespan of that plow. And all the components behind it, what's pushing the plow, the hydraulic rams, and even the attachment to the truck itself.
Yeah, I'm thinking about these specialty things, you know, like the wood chipper that may be used 24 times a year, maybe used, you know, 4 times in a year.
No, the wood chipper is used on almost every tree job. Because you think about it, any limb that's more than 4 feet long, we're not transporting, we're chipping in place. And additionally, if we're treating trees that have like turpentine beetles or something, that needs to be chipped in place and then brought to be disposed of, so we don't continue spreading whatever disease they're trying to. Dutch elm, turpentine beetle, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, the tree truck and the chipper, again, they're very critical in the sense that there's no suitable replacement in the town's fleet, but those are used every single day. Unless
Are they really? Wow, so they're used that often, gotcha. Okay, I didn't know if it was only, you know, storm comes in, blows down a tree.
No, it's maintenance of the entire town tree inventory, essentially.
Gotcha, okay, so it's more,
Yeah.
more ongoing maintenance.
The tree truck is used much more for maintenance than it is for emergency response.
Got it, I thought it was only emergency.
Gotcha.
Good to know,
Okay,
okay, thanks.
now we're on to the hook lift truck.
Sure. It's the only hook truck in our fleet. So it's the only thing that we can move cans with, dumpsters with. It's also one of only 3 in our big truck snow fleet, which essentially anything that can handle a 10 or 11-foot plow with a large volume sander, like a 10 cubic yard sander. So these are the trucks we use to handle like Milestone Road, Pulpus Road, something beyond the scope that a 550 can handle. Unfortunately, the condition of our current truck, which is a 17, from a combination of just relentless wear and tear and how it gets stored outside, we're looking at the cost and scope of repairs are escalating, and they're not going to go the other way. We're unfortunately starting to see more and more downtime with all of that big truck fleet. And again, we don't have another one in the fleet, so we can't rely on another piece of equipment to do what this one does for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I would just add, like, I remember this past winter, I wouldn't say we got a quote unquote a lot of snow, but we actually had a good number of snow events. You know, a couple inches, enough to get out there and pre-treat and then plow. And we have 2 10-wheelers and T3. T3 is our current hook lift truck, and T2 and T3 were both off the road. So we had one large vehicle plowing Pulpus. We had hired Barrett Enterprises to do Milestone. But we had like a 550 doing Old South and Surfside and Fairgrounds and some roads like that. So that's where we really start to feel it.
And when we have a big truck, when one of our big fleet trucks are down, what you end up having to do is now we're taking 2 or 3 assets. So I need 2 550s to plow the same volume. And I need another truck salting and spreading behind that. So one truck going down can affect 3 trucks. And from an asset point of view, it's not incredibly critical, but from a manpower point of view, that becomes really an issue because now I'm pulling trucks off of other routes. And we're spread fairly thin as it is with our fleet to keep up with any snow and ice event as it is.
Any questions, guys?
Nope.
Okay, and then the F-550 dump truck is next.
Yep. Now originally this was to replace a 2016 vehicle. The 2016 we had a critical failure where the dump body fell off. It rotted off. But for a relatively short amount of money, I've been able to replace that bed. I'd rather replace a 2018 that we have had to flatbed to the Cape twice due to just perpetual BHM. So essentially computer module failures that the truck will start if you're not even in it. The truck will shut down if you're not. So its reliability is fairly low at this point, and I think we're better served by bumping this one up and replacing it. And again, truck 24, which is what I'm discussing right now, is a major component of our snow and ice fleet, and it's also a major component of what operations does as it hauls bobcats and excavators, and we need that type of truck to move that type of equipment.
Yeah.
Again, if it's not reliable, even though it's in the inventory, no one's going to take it out of the yard because do you want to get stuck on Pulpus Road with that just becomes a debacle with a trailer that we can't go on.
Right. So are you saying you're not gonna, that was.
I'm going to we're replacing the 550 in the fleet, just not the one that was originally scheduled to be
I
replaced.
get
As we get with the new bed and the time that it's missed, quite frankly, it will be in better shape and more reliable than the 2018.
Okay. Any questions?
And Nick, when you guys are getting a new vehicle, or any of these new vehicles, for example, this one we're talking about right now, 550. When's this gonna get us till? Like, when do you think, do you guys look at service time as far as
Realistically, I should get 10 years out of this truck. Realistically, I should get 10 years out of a 550. That now, the variables there are clearly where it's stored, how it's stored, and the abuse it sees in the interim. But a 550, I should realistically be able to get 8 to 10 years is the lifespan, simply because there's not a day if you pull into our lot that you'll see 2 or 3 550s sitting there. They're on the road every single day with every operation we do. So 8 to 10 years is a realistic ask. If they were stored inside, I'd say 12 to 15.
Yeah.
You gotta think about the perpetual exposure. Like if we use it to treat snow and ice, not only the 24-hour ambient saltwater environment we live in, but now I'm adding salt. Even though we are cleaning these trucks down in between events, the cumulative effect on the wiring and the suspension and the frame, as exhibited by truck 20, we literally we lifted the bed up and the dump body slid off just due to failure of components. So short answer, 8 to 10 years is realistic, Christy.
Yeah. As a committee, admit we don't have the best amount of information when it comes to vehicles to hold you guys to, to that. We review a lot of vehicles for every department, and it's difficult for us because we know most of the vehicles are pretty specific, and so I think our group struggles sometimes with trying to find criteria to come up with a proper decision, to replace a vehicle.
I would say the difference in our fleet is that something like the tree truck or the hook truck are very specific use vehicles. Something like a 550 or a 350, it's essentially the everyday, every job vehicle. So it's not the tree truck, to your point, there could be a day or two we don't need the tree truck and it might sit still. And the guys are out in a 550 doing something else. There's not a day you can come into our lot and find more than 1 or 2 550s idle because they are part of every single operation. It's snow removal, it's towing equipment. If it's not towing equipment, it's taking the lawn clippings from, you know, where the grass clippings from where they're working, whether it's ensconced. So every 550 in our fleet is essentially the Swiss Army knife of our fleet.
So let me ask you, hold on one sec. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Like, the reason I ask about service questions and service records, I would way rather pay, I'd rather see you guys get every vehicle in your fleet once a year. Let's say, for example, get a coat of wax. And I think over years, you're protecting it against, who cares how it looks? I mean, it's a, you know, work vehicle. But I would wax it just so that you're preventing, you know, rust from happening. It's just something.
We do that. We do that. I fluid film all the frames, all the components. Granted, the paint is the least of my concerns, and we do wax them. But we apply a lanolin-based fluid film to, as soon as they show up after every snow and ice use. It's the best I can do to try and preserve those frames as long as possible.
That's great. That's great.
Well, we often see a picture of a rusty vehicle, so it doesn't happen everywhere. But as a, you know, whether a department or a town, we just need to get in a better schedule about taking care of our vehicles. What about undercarriage spray? And I'm not talking driving it through the car wash to get it sprayed.
No, we have an application process for lanolin-based film, which we apply to the frames, all the major components. I have parkas that I put over the plows for off-season once they've been treated. So we are treating undercarriages. We are treating all the electrical components. Again, I am fighting an uphill battle against an environment that wants to eat that truck up. We absolutely have a schedule. It may not have been in place previous, and I can't speak to my predecessor, but we absolutely have a schedule for treatment of vehicles when they arrive new, after an event, and at least biannually, we're looking at those frames, because I don't want to get a call because a dump body fell off somewhere on Colton's Road.
I would just add to that. I mean, yeah, Christy, that would be a dream, right? Like, we would love to have the luxury to do more preventative maintenance, and to Nick's credit and Peter's, like they're doing better than we have before. But we have one mechanic. Like, we have one person fleet maintaining our whole fleet, and, you know, police, fire, plus natural resources, health, etc. So unfortunately, a lot of times us getting to that type of preventative maintenance is a luxury. Like, and everything we do is prioritizing what's most pressing. And a lot of times it's kind of heavy duty repair or other types of more I don't know, time sensitive tasks. So yeah, it's definitely tough, you know.
Yeah, all right. Well,
But no, we have invested, and we do have a number of different products we use, a number of different application types, but we are fighting uphill, and we do absolutely get them on these frames.
yeah, so I mean, like, if I just, for example, as far as like spraying the undercarriage, like, I know Norman does enough, like a pickup truck for, you know, $700. Like,
oh yeah, the cost.
That'll get you, that's $700. That's a spray for 6 years, you know, and I can
assure you it's not a spray for 6 years.
What's
That's
that?
a spray for 6 months to a year, realistically. There's no way, unless it's a rubberized undercoating, there's no way it's getting us past a year. But we do it. The investment is short. To your point, I can buy a case of undercarriage treatment for $300, and I can treat 5 trucks with it. So we're absolutely doing that.
Yeah, well, I know it does last, because I've done it to my vehicles over the last 4 or 5 years since he started doing it, and they still look great. So I do know.
Are you doing? Yeah, but the treatment at Norman's or like at No Kill Car, that's a New Hampshire oil. The dark, you're looking at the undercarriage dark black when you're done?
Yeah.
That's a New Hampshire oil, and I'm not using a petroleum based, simply because environmentally that's not what we're trying to do. The lanolin is just as effective. It just requires more application.
Could I ask you a
Right.
question about that? So you're putting petroleum in the car, but you don't want to put it on the car?
Yeah.
Did I hear
But what's
that?
the difference? Well, it's the difference between I could take a 5-gallon can of gas and put it in the bed, or I could pour it on the bed. Environmentally, one makes more sense than the other.
Yeah, I think I just want the larger point to be that I think a lot of things are not environmentally friendly in that business. And
Unfortunately, some of the environmentally, like, unfriendly things work really well. That's the problem. Yeah,
I think there's a debate if it's environmentally friendly or not. That's what I'm saying. So that's a point of view.
It's also a different application process, but it, if the recommendation is they would like us to treat them with a different product, I'm more than open to it.
Yeah.
If I don't have to treat the truck as often, I'm on board, but. it's
all right. Nick,
a
well, Nick,
product.
it sounds like you're trying to incorporate some processes that will protect these investments.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate it. I will probably inquire again, because I am always curious about it.
This
Yeah.
was Christie's favorite day, Nick, just so you know. Every time I talk about this stuff,
Christie, allow me to be selfish for a minute. I
what?
don't want these things coming back on a snow and ice night at 2 AM when I have to rewire something because it's corroded. I don't
Yeah,
lights falling off because they're corroded. So if
Yeah.
I could treat this one time and forget about it, I'd love it. But that's just
Yeah.
simply not the animal we're dealing with at the moment. We want to look into changing that process. I'm game, but from the garage standpoint, as Drew referenced, it myself and one mechanic. So if we can do preventive maintenance that keeps things away from my garage, I'm a huge fan of that. It's just a matter of incorporating how you want to do it.
yeah, I get it. Yeah, my thing, I just wanted, I have no problem spending on preventive maintenance, as opposed to being reactive. So anyway.
You know,
sounds
we're
like-
absolutely trying to be proactive.
Yeah, okay.
So before we go on, if I may, you said something really important and we had talked about it last year. And that was our inability to be able to, in context, understand about how long equipment lasts, how long it's expected to last and how we're doing and what are we replacing.
And hold them to it,
Could I?
and hold them to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we had talked about.
Not just you guys.
Everybody.
Yeah.
So and it didn't allow us to look at redundancy either. And so what we had asked for was a spreadsheet that had a listing of all the vehicles and it had maybe a bar. So it says, okay, I bought this piece of equipment in 2027 and it shows that its expected useful life graphically is 10 years. So, and then you can go back to it and you can say, oh, but it only lasted 8 years. And then we can talk about, well, we're specifically replacing this vehicle. And it didn't last as long as it was supposed to, based on a guesstimate. Why didn't that happen? And understand that we're replacing something that's being retired, not buying something new. And if we're buying something new, we can compare it in our schedule to the other equipment to see if there's any redundancy or ability to share the
Yeah.
equipment. So we, remember that?
Does
conversation?
that exist is the question yet?
No, but we had talked about how it would be valuable to
Yeah.
be able to help get a big picture of what we're doing here.
Well, I'm sure he has a list of all the equipment he has. It might be in different files.
But
It
it's
might
not,
not all be together.
it's not just about what the equipment is, it's also showing what their expected life is and what happened and that.
I'd be happy if it just had the date you purchased it. That'd be fine with me. I
Oh,
don't think
well,
it
no,
needs
that
to
doesn't
be-
address what Christie was raising.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, as Nick said, you know, you buy something, he thinks it's gonna last 8 to 10 years. It could last 6 due to mechanicals and costs. But also in the past, and you guys, I'm speaking on like some experience from past vehicles. We just know they haven't been serviced and they are requesting vehicles. So I'm hard on the service side of things. But we also understand that a vehicle can last not 10 years, but maybe 14 or 15. Do you guys feel like the town needs to have like newer looking vehicles? Or is it just a matter of, is it strictly a matter of function and it working?
Oh, it's absolutely function over fashion, Christie, but
Okay.
I mean, we talk about things like making sure people are assigned to vehicles so that they own them and they take care of them, you know, like and take some pride in maintaining the vehicle. But
Yep.
you know, again, what really gets us the most is when we can't use a vehicle to go do what's expected of us or what we need to serve the community. You know, the unreliability of our vehicles coming in, you go to start it, it doesn't start, or to Nick's point, it's 2 AM and you know, we got half of Old South Road plowed because it broke down and it's coming back, for some love. So, it's that stuff that's most difficult. And when we're in those situations, the maintenance cost gets pretty exorbitant. Or the repair cost, I should say.
Yeah.
So Krista, do you think a summary like that would be helpful so we can understand?
Yeah, I mean,
Available, yeah.
I think if, do you guys have a spreadsheet of all your vehicles?
We do, and we use that to develop our capital list for this year. And I guess largely speaking, and this goes back to what you guys were just talking about a minute ago, like, I think in a perfect world, we expect to get 10 years out of a vehicle.
Yeah.
We have a regular replacement schedule. I can tell you exactly what we're doing for the next 11 years, including whatever we might buy this upcoming year. But every year we have to review whether that vehicle is going to make it to year 10 or if it needs to be replaced in year 9 or year 8 or year 7. So
And
we have that kind of stepped out for a decade, but every year we have to look at, the tree truck's 7 or 8 years old. We're not going to make it to 10. So it needs to go in as a capital request. Now that's kind of our process.
If you can't get the useful life that you originally expected out of it, it would be good to know. I just feel like as a committee, we don't have any basis for an objective, like, oh yeah, you're replacing this thing and yeah, it didn't last, it only lasted 8 years, and that was just helpful to know that in the whole scheme of things as we approve things.
I mean, in fairness, if we request a spreadsheet just of existing vehicles and maybe replacement dates, we have to ask it really for everyone, fire department, police.
We did talk about the fire. Did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it
and
seemed-
they had some new trucks that they hadn't had in the past, so.
And it is useful, like you did say, oh, we bought this piece of equipment in 2017 and this is the one we're replacing. It's good for us to know that, but it's good for us to know that on a consolidated picture for all of the equipment. I've always felt two things about our town. We don't have a fleet manager at all for all of the equipment to follow it and to handle the purchasing of it. And the second thing is, we don't need to own this stuff, we need to lease this stuff. And let somebody else who could use the depreciation benefits to reduce our cost of acquisition and not use our money for it and not use bands for it. And I don't understand, well, I do know why Brian doesn't have the width, the ability, the time to do this, but that's the right thing that should be done here. So I just put that on the record.
Yeah, no.
And I think we should
I think it's
if you
something
don't
that
mind, I
it
think
sounds
I'd
like a
like to-
very,
write a note with that in the report that we're doing,
Yeah,
somehow, and then have us, maybe we could, I'll write it, we could craft it and
yeah, we
make
should,
it fit.
when vehicles,
Just
even with,
regards to rolling assets.
Rolling assets of the town,
just for request service.
because it's not just your group, it is everybody else.
Yeah,
oh, no, we get a ton
So-
of vehicle requests.
And there's no way to measure it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Understood.
enough on that.
I have 2 more questions.
Christie, shoot.
So Nick, say in 10 years, whether any of us are here. Say in 10 years, if you guys are looking at a new vehicle, replacing one, are you keeping records to where you could give us the history of service on a vehicle?
Absolutely. Every service that happens in the garage, I have a record of.
Sounds good. My last question, yeah. My last question is, when you guys, say the 550 or the 350 that you're replacing, is it full replacement, meaning that 350 and 550 are going away, or is it an add to the fleet?
We're specific about, if we're asking for a replacement, it's a replacement. It'll say new vehicle if it's getting just an addition to the fleet. But yes, for example, when that replacement for truck 24 gets here, truck 24 now moves to surplus.
Yeah, these are all replacement, it
Moves to
looks
what?
to me.
Moves to what?
Moves to
Oh.
surplus.
Surplus. So beyond the department and government surplus?
Yeah, government
Yeah.
surplus, we hold a
Yeah.
surplus sale. We haven't done that in a while, but that's part of the other issue with these is that when that happens, we're not getting much of a return. We have, I'll use the front end loader, for example, we have traded in equipment, or I don't know if we've really done it for vehicles, but we've traded it in and it's taken off at times a decent chunk of change from the purchase price of a new piece of equipment. But yeah, like if it says replacement, then it means that something is being retired and replaced.
I mean, these say they're all replacement.
Yeah,
There's
this-
nothing.
Yeah, these are all replacements on this.
There's nothing in his requests that are not necessary. They're all necessary.
Yeah.
It's just we don't have any basis to evaluate it, but,
Yeah.
and the questions that Christie's asking are just color for us to understand.
Yeah.
Better.
All right, should we keep going?
Yeah.
So,
What's next?
350?
Yep.
it's 350, it says truck 18.
Yep.
for The replacement.
It's a 16 that we're trying to put. It's a 9-year-old truck. Again, it's one of the two 350s we use. This one is approaching the end of its useful life, again, for downtime. And as on the other end of our big truck fleet, our smaller truck fleet, the 350s, are crucial for snow and ice downtown, narrower spots. And again, tow vehicles, when a 550 is a little bit over the top, we don't need a 550 to tow mowers, we need a 350 to tow some mowers. Again, these are also just runaround vehicles, moving signs. Instead of taking a 1.5 ton or a 1 ton out the door, these are more of our everyday vehicles for running. And this one is definitely at the end of its useful life and would be replaced. And to your point, Christy, in the past, we have repurposed some vehicles to get replaced. When we get to the bottom of this list, we're going to be talking about our Island Home. We have repurposed many replacement vehicles to our Island Home to replace the last hand-me-down they got.
Got it.
I don't really know anything about trucks, but I wonder whether you guys could tell me whether it makes sense to buy a 350 or a 500, maybe to buy the larger one to be more useful in other applications as
It's
well. to get
so
more-
much bigger, isn't it?
I don't know anything about it. I'm just posing, not, what do I know about a 500?
I
I'm
think
just saying,
I think he touched on that.
is this the right size, or should we be getting a different one that's more multi-purpose?
I think he was saying that a 550 is probably too big for a lot of the stuff that they'll do with the 350.
But then it would be useful for other things as well. That's my point.
Yeah, but the price differential also.
I don't know.
It's big, look at it.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, you guys are comfortable, what you're requesting a 350 for and what you have the 350s for. They're kind of in a sweet spot size and power wise relative to using a 550 for everything. Right?
The difference being a dump truck versus a pickup truck. A 550 is a dual rear wheel with a dump body on it, whereas a 350 is a regular pickup truck you have in your driveway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I was gonna ask, the 350 essentially the minimum. I mean, you guys aren't really purchasing or still, running around in 150s or 250s.
There's a 250 or 2 still in the fleet that's a remnant, but 350s, just because of the weight they can handle, just makes it easier for towing. It makes it more of an option for other things.
So a 350 is a pretty big truck.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Right.
The third.
Well, see, that's why I didn't know. So my
Well,
question was
yeah.
a silly question, because he just said, oh, it could be a 150 or a 200 or something.
Yeah.
It's the smallest that they're probably gonna be requesting going forward, but
Yeah.
it's a big truck
That
that can
was the-
tow, equipment
Thank you.
and, light snow gear and is
It's
still
very
relatively nimble, so to speak, but I mean, it's a big truck and it's a
Okay,
big powerful
great.
truck regardless.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I would just add, the only 150s we have are the two F-150 Lightnings, and those are both facilities, basically administrative. So,
Building to building operation.
Those, when I was growing up, those cars were considered big, Drew.
yeah, we,
That was the big
not too
one when I
long, not too long ago, we had way too many Ford Rangers around here, and they really don't serve anybody's day-to-day jobs.
No, that back of that thing is like way too small.
Yeah.
Junk.
They're old.
Okay, any other questions, people?
Nope.
All right, the Bobcat skid steer loader, I see you have that as a low priority, and did we approve one of those last year, or am I losing my mind?
No, approved last year for this year was a new front-end loader.
Okay. Well, I got the word loader right, I guess, so. Sorry,
Yeah,
Drew.
this is a little one.
Mhm.
Think of this as
Yeah.
the mini version. And the current one we have is a 14. It's a Bobcat. We're moving to making the entire fleet go Caterpillar. From a service standpoint, it just makes more sense. We have service agreements with Caterpillar, parts. For every metric we go by, it makes sense to have the same reason we have all Fords. Inventory and maintenance become much easier. Currently, that Bobcat's 11 years old. It's beginning to fail. It's currently off island having service right now. It's almost it's a bespoke vehicle in that there are attachments we have that only the Bobcat will run, which is a problem. So I would like to, we'd rather move in the direction of having a Caterpillar that again, will run almost any attachment we have in our arsenal, as opposed to having one machine that only runs 2 pieces of equipment.
So you, again, rated this as low elective, so if we as a group went through this and did our scoring, it would get a really low score, maybe unfairly. Is there anything that we should know about that might tell us that this needs to be scored higher than what we might score it for?
I would say that the things we use this for and the attachments that it runs are specific to jobs that other pieces of equipment don't run. In other words, bike path maintenance for snow and ice, bike path and sidewalk sweeping maintenance. It's the only piece of equipment that currently runs the sickle bar that we use for brush cutting, clearing all those bike paths and sidewalks and spots in town. So it's really the only machine that runs those attachments. If we do not have something that can run those, we do not have a replacement for it to run those applications.
Yeah, and I think the reason we scored that low, tell me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to remember our conversation, but we have 2 other skid steers. We use them like all day, every day. There's one out on New Street in Sconset right now. That doesn't mean that we can't do brush cutting. It doesn't mean we can't plow or sweep our sidewalks or bike paths, right? Like we have the Luigi, we have other things that could do the job, maybe not as efficiently. And ultimately going back to like, say, the bucket truck, for example, and some of the other stuff that we're looking to replace, it's more like operational, like, or critical pieces of equipment. Whereas, right now the Bobcat's getting maintained, and if we had to live with it for another year, we felt like it was something we'd be able to do. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be quite as catastrophic.
It would be nice to have, you are gonna need this,
Yes.
but you need it now, so it's gonna move up to high priority when you need it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. All right, next is the,
Just real
Oh,
quick
Pete,
on
go
that,
ahead.
yeah, so I know it says, so it's not tracked, it's wheeled.
It's a rubber wheel loader, so we can use it on the bike paths and sidewalks. Yeah.
Yeah, and is that one it's replacing also wheeled?
Yes, rubber wheeled as well. Yes.
Yeah, gotcha. And I mean, is that pretty standard to be able to, go over asphalt and other, surfaces without damaging?
Yeah, but we're specifically want rubber wheel because the applications, if a track will just destroy the bike path and
Right.
then
Yeah,
cobblestone.
so rubber wheel to be able to go over, more surface damage then. And so the 99,000, that includes the attachments that you were saying are gonna be universal kind of going forward?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What's that?
The 99,000, that includes the various attachments that you were talking about that hopefully.
Yeah, it includes the one attachment that's definitely includes the sickle bar that we currently can only run with the Bobcat. It would include a sickle bar that would be cat compatible that we could run on any of our skids.
And gotcha. And how many of these, ultimately would you guys like to have in the fleet, this size skid?
We use all 3 almost daily.
3 of them, gotcha, okay. Interesting. And yeah, it's funny, in my mind, when I hear skid steer, I think of just that it's tracked by nature, but that's just a term that could be tracked.
Yeah, it's the control.
Gotcha, that's what, I always thought it was like the tracks, Caterpillar tracks.
No, it's the control system.
Skid steer, got it.
Joystick as opposed to wheel.
Yeah, got it, thank you.
okay, we're on to the OIH facilities truck.
Yeah, so this one is a pretty good example of us trying to repurpose things, and it doesn't always work out. They're currently running a 2005 hand-me-down. The reason this is in capital is what would normally be in the chute to give them another hand-me-down would be truck 3, which we referenced earlier, which has failed inspection, doesn't have a suspension, and we're on our 2nd transmission. I feel like if I give that to RL and Home, I'm just going to see it back here for many more repairs and potentially not passing inspection yet again. And currently, the 250 they have right now doesn't necessarily allow them to do their own snow clearance and doesn't allow them to move a lot of the bigger things they need to move. So they will come out here, I would say at least once a week, to borrow one of our larger 350s that are in better shape. They have to borrow it based on the fact that we've given them essentially fairly shoddy hand-me-downs at this point. Again, I made it a
So
low
that-
priority simply
it is a
because
low
we do
priority.
have options to let them use if necessary, but not always. There are times they come out and we have to turn them away.
Right.
I don't think he heard you.
You do have it listed as a low priority.
And yet you do say it's a scheduled replacement of a truck that supports the facility's operation.
I mean, do you wanna bump it up? You guys can bump up your priorities if
That's
you
all.
want to. That's all we're saying, if you think you
We
need
can
to.
revisit that priority with our Island Home, to be honest, when they, so. Actually, to back up real quick, so Howard, at one point, you were talking about kind of having a central fleet and a central fleet manager. I mean, that is the role of central fleet here at DPW, which is why our Island Homes request came through us. We do reach out to Plus and Natural Resources and Health. Of course, some other enterprise funds, like airport, water and sewer, and then police and fire, they manage their own fleets. So, but there's other departments that we do manage, we manage the maintenance of and repairs. And then we reach out to them as far as vehicle replacement schedules. And we're working on helping them develop kind of that same table, right? It's like, what is your fleet now? And when are things gonna need to be replaced in 2, 4, 6, 8 years? When we talked to Our Island Home, they basically said, you know, we'd like a new truck, but we don't even use it necessarily every day. And when we need it, we can kind of borrow one of yours. So, you know, knowing that we have collectively $1.28 million worth of vehicle replacements, because of how it was presented to us, it seemed like it was fairly low priority, and that working together, we may be able to avoid having to buy a vehicle that doesn't get daily use, for example. So that was kind of our approach to it.
Would you repeat the list of entities departments that you don't do?
We don't do, well, we do maintenance and repair for most of them, but as far as vehicle replacements and the procurements, police, fire, sewer, water, airport, we
Sewer, water?
don't do.
Okay.
So I'm sure David Gray and Mark Willett and the airport are putting in for vehicle replacements for their fleets.
But we're involved in maintenance of all of those with the exception of airport. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, nice. And so to that point, so we don't get direct requests from
Yeah, we
like Island Resource, from school department, or maybe not school, but IT. Natural Resource, I mean, we get direct vehicle requests from them, don't we?
Not from natural
Um,
resources.
No,
remember
Health
that.
Not any,
department.
not any town administration stuff, but the enterprise funds, they ask us.
Well, they do, but that these guys are saying they don't do it on their behalf, but everyone else, they're doing it on their behalf.
Right,
Like-
so, and so like,
It
those
comes through town admin, so I think like town admin requested trucks for people at
Oh,
Plus or. people at
Right, that's what I'm
Natural
saying,
Resources
so
or
that's
something
not
like
coming
that.
to these guys.
No,
No, okay, even though they're not enterprise funds.
no,
right, but
they-
that makes sense, because he's got specialized equipment. I don't, Drew, I'm sure you can speak to it better than I can.
Sorry, yeah, their vehicle replacement capital request should come through us. So we are in the process, literally as we speak, of buying a Ford Escape for the IT department, 2 Ford Explorers for the assessors.
Mhm.
We procured the F-250 that JC has at Natural Resources and the F-150 Lightning that Natural Resources has. And we,
IT is currently speak.
well, I said IT's Escape, and then the godforsaken Gem E4 vehicle at Plus.
Yeah,
So,
but I just didn't remember that those came on your docket. I remember those requests, I just didn't remember that that was
yeah,
you defended
We-
those. So
we've transitioned over the last, whatever, year or two to centralize those requests through our department.
So would it make sense to centralize water and sewer through you guys too, since you're doing all of the other purchasing?
It's really a policy question for town administration, but I think the reason they're separate is because they're enterprise funds and the water department has its own board of commissioners, so. I
Yeah.
think
I just was talking about the purchasing, not the,
the request.
yeah,
Just mean the.
yeah, not the request, the purchasing.
Yeah.
That was, and I was only asking your opinion, Drew.
Yeah, I don't know, it's kind of a question for someone higher up than me.
And us. Okay, let's keep going. I do have one big question for you. Do you-
So that, Sorry, go ahead, Jill. I was gonna say that concludes the request for Central Fleet.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Do you know how much money you spend on gasoline in a
The-
year?
The police department manages the fuel master for diesel and gasoline.
For
All
everybody,
town. Yep.
including water and airport, or just?
I don't believe it includes the airport, but water.
I know it doesn't.
Door and
include the-
everything else.
I mean, it would. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's where that's the centralized
Right,
fuel station.
that's great.
Yeah, okay, we'll ask them. Thank you. Okay, we're on to parks. Charlie, are you up?
I am.
Hi.
So the first one here is obviously the biggest ask. This is Tom Nevers debris removal phase 2. We are currently out to bid with phase 1, which is to clean up the debris down on the actual beach itself. And phase 2 is going to be kind of tackle everything that we're aware of that is upland from the beach area. And it's it's kind of a high level number at this point. We have a lot of work to do with permitting and plans, but this is kind of just based on the original cost estimate that we're working with.
It's so expensive, Charlie.
Yeah, it's a lot. Unfortunately, the beach cleanup process. We're going through this. There's
Oh, okay.
9 different federal permitting agencies that are involved. So there's a lot to do on the front end in building this project out between permitting, design. This project will involve not only removal of the debris that's found, but then replacing the soil and compacting that back to make sure we're not creating soft spots or erosion issues, that sort of thing. Because of the nature of what's buried, there has to be a UXO team, unexploded ordnance, on site. There are asbestos management teams on site, along with construction oversights. There's a lot that goes into this project.
And is this, it's just the 2 phases though, yeah? I mean, that's what you say here, so.
Yeah, so originally it was all one project, but because of how the permitting complex the permitting was, we decided to separate out the beach because it has some additional specific permitting, and we didn't want to try to bog down the whole project. So we're pushing forward. That's out to bid. We should have a contract. Bids are due back on November 4th. And we'll hopefully be under contract by November 12th. With that, breaking ground to do that work over the winter.
And how long will that take?
We hope to be off the beach
In not 60 days.
60 days or so. Weather
Oh,
weather holds, it's gonna be really fast. Run down, grab the stuff. Get
wow,
out.
$2 million in 60 days. That's kind of impressive.
Yeah, we're kind of this is very driven by the permitting and the amount of time we're allowed to be down there, what we can do. We have to be out, we want to act fast, try to before the winter storms hit, because everything's pretty accessible now. If we get a big, if we try to delay and don't break ground or start work until March, who knows what we might be able to see, or find depending on the winter storm. So it's really going to be a hard and fast movement once we get under contract.
So Charlie, what happens if you don't get this money? Like, let's say you do phase 1, but you don't get phase 2, and I'm.
So if we don't get phase 2, we kind of eventually it would become phase 1 again.
Right.
The whole idea of this is we're getting the stuff on the beach
That's
now.
what I wanted to understand, like the one hinges on the
Yeah,
other.
we're getting the stuff that's on the beach now. We're not touching the bluff face or say the asphalt road on top of the bluff because we don't want to create a soft spot for future erosion with rain. So we're gonna, I hate this term, I'm gonna draw a line in the sand behind on the back of the bluff, right? And say we'll leave 10 feet. And then everything from that 10-foot line back all the way up to the bathhouse, we will go and excavate and remove everything that we know of that's been already identified by ground penetrating radar, compact that stuff back in, and then we'll have this ramp access point down to the beach that for that 10 feet we haven't touched, we'll allow the DPW with our own equipment to go down and get the pieces of asphalt or little things like that. And then eventually, when that erosion comes back, that 10 feet, everything will be clean behind it. So we don't have to go through this extensive permitting process like this phase one actually restarted once already. When last year a winter storm took 40 feet and we had to change all the plans that were in place. So the idea is clean the beach, clean behind the beach, and then as the stuff falls, DPW can go get it ourselves. And once that we're through that area, you know, we don't have to deal with the expense of the permitting of getting back down onto the beach and that sort of stuff. And we'll be able to kind of check off cleaning Tom Nevers Park off our list.
May I ask a
Oh, yeah, Howard, go ahead.
So, I don't recall, and I don't have the sheet in front of me, how much we approved for phase one last year.
2 million.
And was there anything left, or did you have an overrun, or?
Well, so the project's out to bid as we speak. So there was a design, unfortunately, like Charlie said, there was a storm. We had to redesign, and there's been a lot of permitting costs. It's out to bid now, and we open bids on November 4th.
November 4th.
So
there's about 1.7 and change for the actual construction project that we're hoping to be kind of right on target with what we need to do this project.
or less.
Or less.
The cheaper the better.
I'm sorry, I'm thick, so did you do, you didn't do all of phase one then yet?
It's in process right now. So we've done all the construction documents. It's currently out to bid, for open bid. The bids are due in 2 weeks on November 4th. We will award the contract the following week, November 12th, as long as low bidders, as long as everybody gets their paperwork in, we're happy with the number. And then we'll proceed with phase one, December, January.
Would there be a case where you would need to come back to us for this budget year for phase one because it came in more than what you expected? Should we expect that, or you feel pretty good about what you have is sufficient and you won't?
We feel pretty comfortable based on the cost projections, from our engineering team that put together the bid spec. We feel, we kind of knew what the contract was to build the design documents. So we knew we had left from the original $2 million appropriation. They feel comfortable that we should get bids, within that number. If something comes back out of whack, we'll have to see what the difference is and kind of go from there.
Yeah, but you will come back, which would be good if you need to for that.
Yeah, if for some reason it came in a lot higher, we would, probably change from phase 2 to phase 1 and 2.
Thank you. That's a great
Okay,
answer. Appreciate it.
any other questions?
Nope.
All right,
Hmm.
so Charlie, we're on to the softball fencing.
Yeah, I want to kind of talk about these together a little bit, Delta and Tom Nevers, because they're similar projects.
Yeah,
One of the big things we're now fighting on the fields daily are e-bikes. It's become a
I
real
was wondering about that actually.
Yeah, I was actually out on the soccer fields this morning. I got a report from one of my Parks and Rec commissioners that their soccer team had to move from one field to another because there were holes. And I'm thinking to myself, well, hang on, we just painted those fields of the day. The guys didn't report anything. My landscaper hasn't reported anything. So
Well, you mean on the ground?
and there are divots from an e-bike. Because the
Yeah.
thing that these kids are doing with these e-bikes that are really electric dirt bikes is
Yep.
they find it fun to pin the front brake, goose the throttle, and do a rooster tail. And it leaves a nice ankle turning 4-inch by 6-inch trough.
Yeah.
It's becoming a problem across all the fields. Over at Delta, there's a little path that comes around the airport, and kids have found that they can shoot across the field instead of going around. So we've been dealing with donuts, e-bikes. I was out there the other day, and a kid came ripping across the field, doing probably 40 miles an hour with a rooster tail of grass being kicked up from this e-bike. So fencing these fields is going to go a long way for just reduction of maintenance that we have to do and player safety, because if someone comes across, we can't be out there and inspect all almost 1 million square feet of grass we have every day. Make sure that there's an ankle turner out there, and I hate to be saying, "Oh, there's a divot on this field, my kid broke his ankle." So it's a real safety thing.
We know it's unmaintained grass fields that creates a problem. Do these kids ride their e-bikes on the turf field?
I've chased some kids off of the turf.
What's it do? Does it do? It's gotta do damage.
Fortunately, it doesn't do much to the turf. I've just seen them out there riding, and when then I pull up and get out of the truck and get the bike off the field, sort of thing. Thankfully, it doesn't do that sort of damage. It's not as fun to do the burnout there, But I dealt with this all summer at Children's Beach. We had kids on the bandstand that we just refinished doing burnouts and donuts,
Oh, my God.
which we did catch on video, which was turned over to NPD. It's a real issue.
But Charlie, can you just say, all right, this year we're not gonna do it because e-bikes are ruining it? And just say, nope,
We're not gonna
nothing's
use the
gonna
grass
happen.
fields?
What's
He's
that?
just
We're gonna
saying,
use the grass
he's
fields?
making a
I'm just making a point, like,
vacant threat.
yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, even if you put a fence in, they're gonna find some way to get in there. Like,
I think you're just gonna need cameras, aren't you, Charlie?
I think-
I
Oh,
mean,
we've got cameras in, and the big things that help with the fencing is that just in an area like Tom Nevers, for instance, I didn't have any kids really out on the fence in big field versus the softball field that they could just cruise right onto because they don't have to worry about trying to get through a gate.
right,
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
can't
So
see it.
controlling access is a big thing. Same thing at Delta Fields. They didn't really go on to the Little League fields because those have fences, but we don't have a fence around the whole perimeter to kind of control that, like from people ripping across. If we can kind of slow down, control access, it'll go a long way. I think
and you have signage?
we do. We're increasing it, and where we do have cameras and that sort of things. We are installing a piece of fence over at the Novadear Fields to separate the south soccer field from the NERSA complex. And we're going to kind of dead end it in the woods, but just to prevent people from coming across that field while we're starting to break ground on that field expansion project this winter, and we're going to shut that whole park down.
in the back of Nursing. Yeah. How tall is this fence, Charlie?
They're a 6-foot fence. It'd be a black, it's like black bonded. So it's not like the black vinyl coated fencing material that, like, if you go out to Novadear now, when that was installed, that was probably the higher tech stuff at the time, and you can see where it's chipped and flaked off, and this is actually like kind of baked onto the fencing material and the pipes, so it lasts longer.
So you don't need to keep the deer out?
I mean, anybody who's tried to put up 6-foot fence and keep deer out knows that they'll look at it once, then take a couple steps back and just jump how high they jump, they leap.
Well, I know, so when you said 6 feet, I assume you're not trying to keep the deer out, is what I mean.
No, it's, the deer will find a way, no matter what. It's just, that's kind of the standard height, if we go 8 foot, that kind of gets into
I don't
specialized.
think I've ever seen any deer over at the Nova Deer Fields, have you?
No. Yeah. Probably, they're probably.
Nothing to eat.
You gotta come through earlier in the morning.
Probably in the bushes.
In the morning, yeah.
Yeah, I had a family of 5 deer out on Delta the other day. Nobody or not so much, because more people go there early in the morning to walk, or they'll walk the dogs around the perimeter. So it it's also a little
Right.
closer to housing.
Right.
Tend to appear there as much, but like over at Delta, there's definitely deer all over the field.
Okay, so really this is addressing all, both Tom Nevers and Delta. Yeah, so between those.
Yeah, they're just
sorry.
2 separate projects.
Yeah. And any other questions for everybody?
Nope.
Okay, so the Winter Park improvements.
Sure. So this is outside of Tom Nevers, this is the biggest ask of the year. And so the Winter Park area is it's one of the few spaces that we have kind of expand for recreational use. The town doesn't have a whole lot of land. And it's kind of an unutilized area with a playground. It's in need of replacement. The playground that's there is currently 23 years old. And we're starting to see signs of structural integrity damage. And so we looked at cost replacement, but there's so many younger kids that live in the area. And I think by improving that, installing a new playground, double the size of what's there, and then also installing a basketball court in this area, and including and then increasing the parking, will go a long way, I think, for community access. A lot of people, we get a lot of complaints. People will call my department asking why the basketball courts at the school are locked up. And I unfortunately don't have an answer. That's the school property. The school installed a new half basketball court off of Bacchus Lane a couple years ago, right next to their playground. And I believe, if I remember correctly, when I talked to Diane O'Neill about it, within 48 hours of it being installed, someone had broke the basketball hoop because they didn't have it locked up, and neighborhoods got in, kids got in and realized, oh, hey, we can lower the hoop from 10 feet to 8 feet, and let's have a slam dunk contest on it. So now the school kind of locks up their stuff so they can have it for their students during the day. So putting a basketball court in this area, I think there's just so many young kids. It's just a very centralized area. A lot of kids walk past this to get to the school. So it's a great place to increase, you know, the town's recreational footprint.
Yeah.
Oh, they keep basketball hoops in good shape in New York City in the for public use. It's too bad Nantucket can't.
Yeah, well, so I actually just had a conversation with Chip, who runs the facilities department with the school at Nobody the other day, because I've installed a basketball hoop over at the Nobody parking lot at the end of it, because I saw some kids in the area with a basketball. I'm like, I wonder where they're coming from.
Mhm.
Let's install a hoop. And the one we installed is much more, it's got an aluminum backboard. It's more of like a city style, basketball hoop than you would say put one up like at your house, where your kid's not going to destroy a glass backstop or backboard and that sort of stuff. So it's meant to be that. It's all aluminum construction.
Oh, good for you.
So that would be the same sort of thing we put in there. So they could be a great opportunity.
That's great. Anybody else? All right, sounds amazing, and amazing for the neighbors who live around there too. I'm sure they'll appreciate
It is
Yeah.
rated low though. Minnesota Prairie is rated low.
it. I know, and of course the jetties were rated low too, but we managed to all agree
Yeah.
that things were community building, and it's what people see, even though I'm not saying it's the most important thing you do, but it's one of the most visible things that you do. So I
Yep.
like to see projects because people feel like you're investing in them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't know if you've bought a new front loader and understand how that affects them, even though it very much does.
Mhm.
But it's just something they see and know, and I love these recreation projects. I'm so glad we've done those courts. And by the way, Charlie, you might want to tell the committee about the courts use this summer.
Yeah, so we had almost 7,000 hours of play between tennis and pickleball this summer.
Great.
That was just what was booked online.
That doesn't account for people that came in earlier after the booking hours.
Yeah.
Amazing.
One of us, you'll remind us that even though it's rated low, that it's important, please. So we don't
Well,
forget.
there's a big 8 in there for something high, so maybe he was trying to be cautious, but
I'm serious, would you remind us?
yeah, oh, yeah, I mean, this is in a neighborhood. I mean, this is on Essex, like everybody is over here all the time. There's so many kids that live over there. I think this is really important. And, also, does this include any lighting, Charlie?
No, we kind of looked at it. I don't remember. I don't think I have any lighting in the plan, just because of dark sky stuff. We'll probably be, when we increase the size of the parking lot, there are street lights there, so we might slide one of those up just to make sure that the access ways, or do some low lighting. But there's nothing involved, nothing like sports lighting, or
Yeah, I mean, neighborhood
we
would
wouldn't
want
want people
that.
in there at 10 p.m. on the playground. The hope is that it's
Yeah.
dark and it goes home.
But it does get dark, pretty early in the winter around there, so.
True.
It's not a bad idea to look into it, maybe, just.
I think
I-
if anything, we'd add lighting for kind of the safety, security, but not necessarily
Yeah.
to facilitate recreation, right? Like,
Yeah.
But-
Okay, Jetty's playground replacement,
Yeah, so we're looking to replace Jetty's playground, probably, this would kind of be in an addition. The current structure used to be a much bigger structure that was replaced, as far as I understand, like 2018, 2019. And what ended up going back was very simple. And so there's not much there outside of a couple swings and a couple of the riding bouncy whales. And so we're looking to add something similar to what we did in Tom Nevers last year, with a structure with shade cloths that can handle 15 to 20 kids at once, and probably relocate it closer to the tennis courts and have that fenced in. So it'd be kind of an area, a little further away from the beach, but an area where we wouldn't have to worry about flooding out, and the structure
Right.
rusting prematurely because it's sitting in salt water and winter storms and that sort of
so
stuff.
where would you put that next to the courts? Cause you have the parking lot there.
Yeah,
which is a
so
little-
if you were to look from Bathing Beach Road up the driveway of the building, you have the
Mhm.
building on the left, there's a little tennis shed on the right. We're kind of looking at that area right in front of it. It doesn't
Yeah.
classify, it's not classified as a coastal dune because it's surrounded by asphalt.
Uh-huh.
So that's where we'd be looking to probably do this install.
Okay. And so then that dunes area will just be just that, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be the playground. This one structure would kind of take that whole the whole area because of the safety spacing you need around, the structure.
Yeah.
But it would be a fenced in area so that if you're a parent with kids and you go over there, you don't have to worry about, you could, have a bench by the entryway. So you can, if you happen to look at your phone for 2 minutes instead of your kid, you don't have to worry that all of a sudden they're running down Bathing Beach Road, headed to the Rosencrown for a burger or something like that. They'll be contained and have to walk past you.
The Rosencrown with Chrissy here. It's
I
like-
know. And so wait, so-
I worked the door for 15 years at the Rosencrown, so I was one of those little kids away, at night.
Oh my gosh. I
Um,
know, it's kind of a bummer that we couldn't put it a little closer to the restaurant because then it's like not a bad place to hang out while you're waiting for your table when it's really super busy,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah,
It's
the problem when we get down there is we run into the coast of the
The
dunes,
water.
in the sand, and then the seasonal water. And there's also, we're in the process further out, is coastal resiliency issues, so we wouldn't want to spend $200,000 to put something down there only to find out next year we're going to raise the building, do a bunch of work, and have to tear it out. So this is an area that's kind of high and dry. It is a little off the beach, but it is right next to what is now the main parking for the beach, because the lower area has been reconfigured. So maybe it's a place where before heading out to the ocean, or a good way to, hey, kids want to leave? No, I don't want to leave. Let's go to the playground, and then you can talk them into the car. It's the area that makes the most sense for us, and it doesn't put us in the area where we're dealing with coastal dunes or flooding.
may I?
I feel like I can't seem to control, so I don't know if, here, I think.
That's all right. I just, I been very interested in the playground and wondering what its status is after the pandemic. It seemed like it was, a lot of the structures had been removed. I live right down here, and so I don't often see any, I don't think I ever have seen any water encroaching in the area where it is now. And it's really very beautiful where it is now, kind of nestled in the dunes, and it's away from the parking lot, which feels very safe. I mean, off the parking lot. And it feels, having had all our kids over there when they were little, it feels easy to kind of be going between the restaurant and the playground where it is now. I'm thinking about if it were moved over to where you're describing and fenced in, it feels like it won't be that same charming feel of the Jetties playground that it is now. And I agree, certainly fencing it in, maybe that is necessary for safety, but one of the most charming things about it was that it wasn't fenced in and it was in the dunes, and that you could kind of have eyes on if you were heading to the restaurant. The position where you're describing, it sounds like, would you be carving out some of the asphalt so as to have room to put the playground? I'm not sure exactly where it is relative to that double door structure over there.
Yeah, so it would fit right in. There's the grass area that's kind of circular that it would fit in almost perfectly. And the other reason, like I looked at the existing area of the playground with my consultant, and there's not a lot of room in the existing area to expand beyond what's there. I think which may have been one of the reasons that when there used to be a ship structure.
Yeah, that was cool.
That came out, they just put back very simple. There's the green turtle. There's a kind of a climbing fish in the swing sets.
Mhm.
I don't know if they decided because they're trying to put the most amount of stuff in that area. A bigger structure like I'm looking at wouldn't fit. Even if we took everything out, the amount of the safety zone that's required around the structure doesn't really fit in there. And permitting wise, because those dunes only kind of get bigger.
Yeah.
Doing anything more like that might be a real problem. We just kind of selected this area because we knew we wouldn't have to worry about Concom and dealing with dune area and that sort of stuff.
What is the structure, the larger structure that you're thinking about putting in there that would require more room?
Have you seen the one that we put out in Tom Rivers?
Rory,
It's in the supplemental.
it's in the supplemental documents.
Oh,
You gotta-
okay.
Yeah, so it's a bigger, it's a square, I forget the exact footprint, but it's kind of a bigger square climbing structure. It's got multiple slides, rope climbing stuff, can handle like 15 kids at a time or so. And so it just kind of offers, we're not gonna take away the existing swing set, we'll keep and maintain what's there now, but this is kind of be in addition to.
That's nice.
Well, I'm thinking that playground is smaller than the other playgrounds because it's, it seems like the most seasonal of all playgrounds because it's sort of off and away in a seasonal neighborhood. I don't remember that it was ever overcrowded, and it did always seem to be a little bit more petite of a playground. Again, I mean, I defer to you about safety and the planning and all the things that you need to consider, but it really was unusually charming that it was small and set amongst the dunes without any chain link fence around it. So I'll just put a plug in for that because it was so special. But.
Sure.
Well, also, Charlie, if I could add to that, I mean, the fact that the base of it is sand, it's like super soft for the kids. Like this new one you're gonna put in, I'm assuming that's gonna have what, some rubberized mat, or is it gonna be on wood
Yeah,
chips?
it'll have the rubberized ADA surface. So the other thing with children's beach is it meets zero ADA accessibility, being sand. We do have a boardwalk that goes out there, but on the spectrum of actual kids' safety, sand is kind of lowest, and then this wood fiber product that is currently deployed in Winter Park, which is basically it's like softened wood chips, is the next level. It gives you a better cushioning for kids in terms of fall. There's better ADA access, and the ultimate is this rubberized surface that just went in at the Boys and Girls Club or like the Hinsdale Park that the land bank did a couple years ago that offers true full ADA accessibility. And so being able to put that, we wouldn't be able to put that type of surface in where the old playground exists. Like, Concom will probably have a hernia if I tried to do that. But in this area, because it's separate, it doesn't have to deal with any coastal flooding water. It's a better location that would be, for that sort of surface.
It's very sweet for the little kids. Can I ask one more thing about these playgrounds you're looking at? You were maybe talking about doing one at Nobodier at some point too?
That is, I just actually, it's on contracts tonight or
Oh,
next week.
Yeah.
you're doing that, yeah?
Select board.
Nobody beach?
What's that?
Oh, nobody playing fields.
The
Yeah, nobody
playground.
playing fields. We went through capital last year and approved
Yeah. I thought so. Okay.
$633,000 is up for the contract. So that we're doing the whole expansion of Nobodier, which was a previous capital appropriation. And so those projects, because of construction, the wall to take place together. So we'll be adding the playground there as well.
Yeah, the field, the lights, the kind of reworking the existing grass fields, the playground, all of it, yeah?
Charlie, your estimate doesn't specify that it includes fencing.
The fencing, it'll probably be split rail fence with a metal chain link, with a metal, chicken wire is not the right word, but the green metal square fencing, which is something we'd probably install as DPW. So it's not as stand out as chain link fence around it, but would still provide the same level of safety, just kind of fit the neighborhood a little more.
Is there enough money in your request for that?
We have a mountain of split rail fence at the DPW.
So it doesn't.
It's something we replace all over the island.
They do a lot of split.
Okay, well, that is gonna change things visually down there, so I think we
Yeah.
really should talk about it. Cause I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I just think it's a big change.
Yeah, I think it's because right now it is very unusual the way that it looks and the way that it functions, which many people talk about, they're very fond of it, the way that it is. And so if we move it over there, it feels more like the type of playground that you would see at a daycare or a, like a nursery school. And it's going to be up against a building and kind of behind all the restaurant stuff. So I'm just wondering, are kids I know you guys are thinking about safety, obviously, which is great. It also sounds like you're thinking about just ease of getting it done, having to go through the Concom and just kind of things like that. But was there a need to have a larger playground? Was that part of what you were trying to solve for?
Offer more than just, because down there it's kind of, if you look at what we're doing in the playgrounds now, like so Tom Nevers, for example, was probably the second lamest playground we had as far as the town before we did this improvement, right? There was a couple of swings, a couple of simple climbing things. No one really used it. jetties I would call at the kind of the bottom of my list because it's one set of swings, a couple of whales like in the climbing fish. It gets used, I think, because of that it's the only thing there. We had a great increase of use of kids out in Tom Nevers this year with the new structure. It brought a lot more life there during the day. A lot of people once they found it and said,
Yeah.
hey, there's more than just a set of swings. You know, the kids are having fun. They want to go there instead of just offers more. So the thought was instead of just putting back a couple of swings and some simple things that it just bring more to the area and more diversity.
Right. I was thinking, I know I wrote to you, I think probably last year, about the wish to add that ship back in because of the location and sort of the, it's like right next to the water, and it was really fun for kids to be able to go to the playground with the ship where, on the beach. It was sort of like a big shipwreck. And I think that, I mean, my son's 20 now, but when he was using it, there were a lot of things there that I think you guys, I think someone told me that they had to get removed during the pandemic and maybe they just had lost their natural life.
Yeah, they had, for safety reasons, they got removed, like where the bases met the sand was all rusted out, because even though you don't see a lot of the flooding there, it does get wet with that salt water. And I did, again, before we kind of chose this location and the structure, when I was talking to my playground consultant, I said, I think we'll actually originally install the ship. I said, hey, I'd like to put something back here, but unfortunately the space there is actually smaller than it was when the ship was there. And
it was what, sorry?
Changed over the years. So like the buffer zone around the structures, I think is different than it may have used to been. Like I remember as a kid, you'd have structure on top, like everything was really close. Now, say if the structure's 10 feet, you need 5 feet on either side.
Okay.
For fall, and this is sort of that. So there wasn't a structure that I looked at with the consultants that would have fit well in the area that I really felt good. Like, hey, I'm actually putting something in here that makes sense to spend the kind of money that these structures cost. So putting this somewhere else, again, we won't take away the swing set that's there. We'll continue to maintenance it, and putting in a swing set's easy. It doesn't require the foundational base that a bigger climbing set does.
Yeah.
So we'll keep those things there and do the maintenance.
Oh, good.
We had to replace the lower half of both of the spring whales because they rusted out. The stainless steel hardware that shouldn't rusted out because it sits in kind of wet sand.
Oh yeah.
So we replaced those a couple years ago. All new chains and new swings went up this year. So we'll maintain it and keep that stuff going as long as we can.
I'm so glad to hear that's great. The swings will still be there.
Needs to be cute. Make it cute.
They're the prettiest swings ever in the whole world. Well, what did you say about the ship structure? That's kaput?
Carolyn, we gotta move on. I'm sorry, you can talk to Charlie offline, and I want to hear about it too, Charlie, because I'm interested in this, but I think we're all ready to.
Yeah.
We get to the Tom Nevers hockey rink.
Yeah, so Tom Nevers, actually the plan to there is to do something very similar to what we did to the tennis courts downtown. Would be to remove the old, kind of dilapidated fence and boards around the old hockey rink, grind the surface that's there, reuse that as a sub base, install post-tension concrete system just like we did at Jetties. Install tall fencing just like around the tennis court. That would include 2 basketball courts. We would cross line that for tennis court going east-west, 2 pickleball courts, basketball lines, and the lower 4 feet of the fencing would be solid in case somebody did want to go out there and play roller hockey, because I have had some students from the hockey team reach out about trying to keep that space. Will there be an area kind of off to the side? All the nets there, unlike Jetties, will all be portable. So if you went out to play tennis, you kind of from the side roll the tennis net out to play, or roll the pickleball nets out. And again, we're trying to add some more things, the Tom Nevers Park, to make it more a destination. And soon we'll have a brand new bike path to help you get there.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought maybe in the title you might even want to say hockey rink and reconstruction and I don't know, racket courts or something like that, or racket court access, or.
Yeah, it's always a little challenging trying to title these things properly.
Yeah, I know. Because it sounds like it's just super niche.
Yeah.
right?
That's
But
awesome.
I think that'd be awesome,
Mhm.
but you're gonna have to make it flat, Charlie. I don't know how you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
The rink's not very, the
Yeah.
rink goes in.
Yeah.
I've spent some time there.
Yes, yeah, I was out at the playground, which is awesome. Yeah, last week with one of my kids, or I guess both of them with the family, but yeah, I hadn't seen the roller rink in I don't even know how long, so that, I
Yeah.
mean, that's like the last piece of the puzzle out there, that looked great,
Yeah.
yeah. Look awesome, hey,
Love it.
Not pretty.
Yeah, it's not,
well,
Now you become a park.
everything takes time.
right?
Like, playground next.
Anybody have any other questions? I'm sure we'll have some later on, Charlie, but thank you. This was helpful.
Yeah, no
And
problem.
Chris, you have patiently waited and I got a recuse during solid waste. That's just out of extreme caution, but I'm gonna have Howard take over as moderator here.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right,
All right, well, sorry, Parks and Rec didn't get you excited. We'll move on to solid waste. Chris, you want to walk through your one capital request for this year?
Yes, my one capital request. A second scale was requested and appropriated a few years ago prior to Drew and my being here. The second scale is a great idea over at the solid waste facility. It would help with traffic flow, especially if any of you folks go to the solid waste facility to get rid of your material at the drop-off area. Especially on the weekends, you see that sometimes cars are backed out onto Matticat Road, and we only have one scale, so we work with a system where it's kind of an honor system where people say that their truck weighs a certain weight, so they have a scale, a tare weight for that particular vehicle. So we had an engineering firm come in and take a look at feasibility, whether we could actually fit a second scale in there as well as a scale house. It will take a little bit of extra work, but it will, number one, make us more efficient. It will cut down on traffic, as well as we'll have actual gross and tare weights, resulting in net weights of items that we do bring in there. So it's just going to be a good for the accounting, good for bringing in some revenue, as well as knowing exactly what we have coming into the facility, other than the tare weight system that we presently have. We would be digging into the engineer that we hired, Sanborn Head, in order to do the feasibility study of it. We would be digging into the mining spoils, which is part of the phase one side of the landfill, which would require us to put in a retaining wall, some drainage and all, in order to make the traffic pattern flow the way it should. But it will definitely make a difference for solid waste. I think it will make the community smile when they go to the landfill instead of saying, "Oh, I gotta wait in line." It's definitely a good opportunity for us to take a look at this and get the engineering going, get the permitting going, and it would take a while for us to get this all done, but just what we need.
Well, I'll just add to that. That was a great overview, Chris. The benefit of a second scale as well is if there is an issue with the scale, we don't need to shut down the facility or go by the real honor system. How much did you bring us? So having some redundancy with a second scale would be helpful. And then it does, like you said, it includes a new scale house that would serve both scales simultaneously, which the current scale house would not be able to do. So there is some site work involved. The installation of the new scale house would include some utility work, obviously, and reconnecting, and kind of a new traffic pattern to a degree. But actually, I think it'll be an improved traffic pattern for folks in and out of the facility. Because right adjacent to the current scale house and the MRF and those catwalks with the dumpsters that you bring your trash and recyclables to is where commercial haulers bring waste that they collect as well. So it's a very busy area. So I think would have that kind of secondary benefit as well.
Chris, do I recall that you put in the budget the operator for the second scale?
So Howard, no, I did not, because the town does not do the operation of the scale. It's through Waste Options. I have discussed that with them, and if they need to, then they would find a second operator. But I do believe we should have 2 operators.
Because in their contract, that would be an additional charge if they manned it, right?
That's correct, Howard, yes.
Are we responsible for, I know they man it, are we responsible for the scale and like the facility and scale house? We are, right?
Yes, yes, so the town would own it, maintain it, and, you know, just, provide all the software and everything as we do today.
Is there some reason why we have trouble taking care of, I know it's at the dump, but take care of that scale house a little bit better? Visually, it is absolutely falling apart. And it just, I don't know, it's just such a visible structure. It's small, looks manageable, but it looks like it should be in the C&D building.
Where it's gonna go.
It's yeah,
It's a hardworking building.
It just goes back to like taking care of stuff. It's such a visible thing that I just don't get why we can't like keep things in decent order. I don't get it.
So Christie,
It's been like that for years.
yeah, to answer that question,
Yeah.
I can't really comment on what's happened prior to me being here and not maintaining it. But
Understood.
the system that or the scale house that we have identified would be a modular unit, kind of a shipping container modified with big windows and doors so that we can see the material coming in and out. It would have an actual foundation underneath it instead of just sitting on concrete blocks. It's in extremely poor condition, and I even hate saying this, but you know, if they put money into it, it would just be a waste of money. It really would. It is that bad.
I mean, how old is that building? 30, 40 years, 50 years?
Like a little thing.
Yeah, a little, that's it.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but how old is it?
I don't know.
It was built in
Since they got the scale?
1993.
93, so, okay. so-
No, no, he didn't.
Oh, I mean, you know, I don't know, I'm sure.
Chris, can the new facilities modular unit double duty for the first scale?
Yes.
Yeah, probably would.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah. Probably situated in the middle or something. Okay.
Yeah, so just looking at the conceptual map here, so one of the scales is gonna be for incoming stuff, and I know you probably said it, but then the second scale is for people outgoing, so you can get the true measure, the true weight. Is that the idea?
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
And-
The entrance scale would be the one next, it would be the new scale next to the retaining wall. One thing I did forget to mention is that the existing scale we have is a shorter scale. We would be adding an extension onto that scale to be able to accept a 80-foot tractor trailer truck that we ship out our material with.
And so with the narrative that, you know, sometimes you come in and it's all the way out to the road, you know, backed up all the way out to the road, I mean, do we think that the outgoing scale is going to alleviate enough of the backup of the incoming scale that this, you know, this all is worthwhile? I mean, is there that much people coming out after dumping, jumping back into the single line right now that's creating that backup? Or are we still gonna see, you know, on a Saturday morning when all the landscapers are all coming at the same time to dump off Friday's loads, is it still gonna be backed up out of the road anyways, and the outgoing scale is gonna be empty?
Yeah, so on the weekends, to answer that question, on the weekends, it's not just the commercial traffic that's going over it, it's also residents that are bringing.
Oh, of course, I'm just making the point when it's really busy.
Yeah, so it will absolutely, because we get the weight, we save the ticket, they go off the scale, they go and do what they need to do, and then they're gonna get back onto the outbound scale. And there's a lot of looping around, just as you just, there is an
Yeah.
awful lot of looping around and that causes havoc,
And
causes.
so we eliminate that looping around, we eliminate a sufficient amount of backup. That this all will be worthwhile in your estimation.
Absolutely, yes.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, as long as you're confident in that, because I was surprised. I figured it would just be two, just double the capacity going in. Cut the, the line in half essentially and hope that solves the problem. But yeah, if this is all based in, good solid thought process, then I trust you guys have checked all the boxes.
I believe we have.
Yeah, great. Interesting.
Okay, anything else?
So the 200,000+, so that was for a second scale. But I mean, was that like a very preliminary request that, once you guys started digging into it, you said maybe we should do this, completely differently? And do it for
Yes.
2 million?
So the second scale, when we did make some inquiries, we found out that we could not, it was just basically the purchase of the scale. It was not the
Yeah.
installation of any construction activities, foundations.
Yeah, okay.
As well as doing a second scale was not going to accomplish that much more because the existing scale was too short to begin with. So it just, through a little bit of effort, we found out that we had to change things around. We had to look at how the area looked, how it would fit, and through the engineering, this is what we determined.
Got it.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I was just gonna say, from a funding standpoint, there is money left from that original appropriation. It's 193,800. And if you go into Plum and the costs and funding section of the request, then we put in there the design, the permitting, construction, OPM, some contingency, and then we subtracted that amount that we still have from the prior appropriation. So we basically developed an all-in cost and then backed out the money that we already have for the project to get the 1,674,100.
Chris, you anything else? No. Great, then, thank you.
That's our. All
Thanks,
right,
Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I think that's it. Yes?
That's it, I think. Chris, I'm sorry you had to wait so long. We should have done you first, because you have the least amount.
I get to learn from my predecessors.
Well, everything we're talking about is ultimately coming to you anyway, I guess, so you.
that's right. That's right. At some point.
Really great. Thank you for all your time.
Thank you, everyone. We
Thanks,
really
you guys.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very
So
much.
good.
And if you guys need any more information, have questions that come up, obviously we're
Thank you.
more than available.
Charlie will take me out to Tom Nevers and look at that debris removal,
Look at the what?
the debris removal and then the roller rink.
I'll go with you.
Yeah, sounds
All
good.
right, it's a field trip.
Sure.
Love it.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
You guys.
All right, guys. Does anyone have any announcements that they, like any committee reports? Have you been going to crack committee? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna ask you something about that, but give us
Is
an
it in what
update.
committee?
Coastal resiliency, I thought the crack committee.
Well, crack is really just, we're just talking about the things that the department is just keeping up with, less on the requests. I don't really have any update on our discussion on some of their requests that Jeff came in with. Just, we're currently just trying to figure out best ways to like reach the community with missions and understanding what the committee's doing. And how best to present that, whether it's, with written or with a short film or with a, some sort of clip. And then, yeah, and then what else?
I mean, I heard
There's a
that
handful of
somebody was talking about you all weighing in on com applications. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't,
How you gonna do that?
it's just. It's just, someone had brought it up just as a, discussion point. I don't think it's got any, legs. Yeah, gotcha, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what that was. what Jill said.
Oh, I'd heard that they were talking about weighing in on Concom applications and I was surprised because I didn't think they're just have an advisory role. So I just wanted to understand that was.
It just, if anything, it would be to just continue as advisory. As an advisory position from that, sort of the coastal resiliency component. Really not to offer decisions. It's not really, it's more of just adding a little bit of extra to the request.
I think it also works backwards.
Yeah,
I think it gives you guys a lot of information.
yep, does, yeah.
But that's if Concom is asking you for this information,
Yeah, but, I
or you,
don't know what cases they're asking.
right, you don't know what they're, but that's sort of the protocol that they would come to you with something that.
Yeah.
What they think. Yeah.
Okay. She'll see.
All right, any other committee reports? I think we can, our next meeting's not till next Thursday, actually.
Okay.
No,
I got
so, oh, no,
Madam
This
Chair,
is
the next
November
meeting's
6th.
November 6th.
so it's 2 weeks from today.
Correct. It was due to getting prepared. I think we have a FinCom meeting preparing for special town meeting.
Oh, yeah, we do. I'm sorry.
why we
I
had to
keep thinking
cancel
that's
next week.
Friday and not Thursday, sorry, yeah, so 2 weeks from today.
What are we looking at on the 6th? I don't.
Town admin, finance and housing.
Fine.
Yeah, that'll be a long one.
There's
Okay.
only 3, so in total, that each one has 1 item. So it's only 3
Oh.
projects she'll be reviewing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
town admin
Okay.
recently pulled one. So we have the large housing project.
So is that gonna be Christie talking about Way Drive?
I believe, yes. And I'm
Yeah.
the information's still being worked on in Plum and will be updated. I just followed up with them to make sure it's
Okay.
updated next week. Finance is presenting a new software implementation. Brian will be presenting that, and
We
town
ever had
admin
finance?
has one small thing. I can't remember what town admin has. It's small though.
Yeah. It's I think with housing, does town admin usually request on behalf of the housing department, but now they're gonna start doing their own requests?
Well, no.
Housing's
Christie's
doing their own now, yes.
Yeah. So
We
not
made our
like-
own.
The same day.
Not, yeah, not under town admin,
Right, no, it's
It's town employee housing, so.
but
you
yeah.
just lumped them together.
Like, will it be coded as town admin or will it be coded as like the housing department?
It's coded as housing.
Yeah, which
Oh.
we've never had before, because they were always coded under admin, right?
For her, last.
I think it's like that for a year, right? I just
think
don't
in the
remember, like,
past-
finance, I never remember.
I
having-
think
know.
last year, when she came for the the $14 million, I guess. Was
Yeah,
that in
that's the one that's coming back.
I think it
It
was-
But it's coming back for 7 million, I thought.
I
Well,
don't, honestly,
I
I'm
don't know.
not sure because it's not updated yet.
It's more
It
just.
is
for
under
my-
housing. I just looked. It's categorized under the housing department with a code of HOUS.
Yeah, but he is right then, the past affordable, the Affordable Housing
Yes.
Trust came in under admin. Employee housing came in under.
We only recently split out
AMA.
housing as its own department in the past
That's what I'm saying.
half or
Yeah,
so.
right. Got it. Just want to make sure going into it that I'm.
Yeah,
Fully understand.
HOUS, yep, okay.
Sue,
Yes,
when did you send this document for, DPW Parks and Rec? I'm maddening that I
so-
can't find it.
I attached it to the calendar appointment. I do it as soon as I post it, and I believe I posted it on Tuesday
You
morning.
mean for our agenda? You mean everything we were looking at today?
I looked at the
Yes.
agenda.
Is that what he means?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Yes.
even texted it to you today. It's on there.
you
So
texted it to me?
even today, I mean, it's with the agenda. You have to look at the second page. There's a page that says what we're doing, and then there's a page below and it lists all the codes for everything being reviewed. It's actually a better system this year than we ever had.
Oh,
Oh, thank
You
you.
do accept the invitation and then it's embedded in the invitation too, right? As like an attachment.
It's not in the invitation when I first set that up because I don't have it together until I go to post the agenda.
Look, all I do is put it online. I just go to the Capitol website.
Yeah, and then it's also online.
And then you gotta,
Yep, that's
Yeah,
pretty
but we're,
easy.
I'm just wondering if, like,
look, so here's
how
the
it-
agenda,
yeah,
and these are all the requests and all the codes. They're on the
yeah, I can't
agenda.
find the agenda. I can't find anything on
I
this
found the
meeting.
agenda, but I didn't find
It was in the one I
the
sent you
link didn't
today.
send to the right place. So, well, it doesn't,
Well, anyway,
But
link-
today
I'll
was-
let you, I'll let you know if I,
Yeah, I'll help you find it.
From-
Okay, let's do a motion to adjourn and then I'll get your computer.
Motion.
Yeah, motion.
On your motion, Pete,
All right.
Howard,
all right.
Caroline,
I
Christie,
I.
Jill's and I. Sue, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.